Special Operations, Covert Ops, Espionage, The Team House, with your hosts, Jack Murphy and David Park.
After that deployment, what was it like as far as like MARSOC developing their own selection course? Because previously these Force guys got kind of, I don't want to say grandfathered in, but
Sure.
they were the first generation of MARSOC guys. How did the selection come about?
Yeah, so you bring up a great point, man. And so when we stood up in 2006, initially it was, we should mimic an assessment and selection of a special mission unit. And if you don't make it, you don't make it. And so the entire command was like, well, we can't do that. Like, we need people to go and do this function right now. And if we do a selection and half of you make it, like, what are we going to do? So denied. You guys cannot do that. And so for a lot of the senior guys, they're like, this will come back at a certain point when some young guys like, did you go to selection? Did you do that? Like, no, I didn't, dude, but I stood up the unit and did back-to-back deployments. Does that count? Like, we're good. But that was definitely a push from a lot of the senior enlisted guys within transitioning from Force Recon into MARSOC was, let's mimic an SMU selection. Let's do it. And if you make it, you go. If you don't, sorry, man, you're going back to Recon. Good luck. Best of luck to you. And then from there, to your point, Jack, like, absolutely grandfathered. So around that 2008, 2009 time frame, they're standing up. So at that time, you have first MSOB, Marine Special Operations Battalion on Camp Pendleton. You have second MSOB, and then you have the headquarters. And at the time it was called FMTU, Foreign Military Training Unit. That was, no kidding, just to bolster numbers. They just took a bunch of infantry guys and said, hey, you guys are now Special Operations Marines. Here you go. They then later turned into, it's called MSOAG, Marine Special Operations Advisory Group. So they did nothing but just pure FID for the first couple of years of MARSOC. And then from there, so there's a lot going on, right? We're in the height of the global war on terror. We've now disbanded 1st and 2nd Force Recon. We've now pulled a bunch of infantry guys to stand up this foreign military training unit. Big Marine Corps wants their people back, so that's contested. And at the same time, we're trying to model a selection, like I said, really after Green. Like, what do they do? How do they do it? Why do they do it? And at this point, I have zero say in this, right? I'm such a young guy in this. But you hear the rumblings, you hear the development, you see what's going on. You're coming back from your deployment. You're giving, actionable objectives for them to train to. And I want to say probably around 2009 is when that first selection was ran, and then they stood up the schoolhouse and started that pipeline.
And something else I wanted to bring up that just occurred to me is MARSOC also created like their culminative exercise, I believe. Is it Derna Bridge?
It is.
And that, it sounds like that was like really like you guys. Well, I'll let you say. I mean, what was it that MARSOC eventually, the conclusion they came to as far as their identity, what they want to be, what they want to do, what their role is in SOCOM?
Sure. So I would say what we've turned into now definitely mimics an ODA. I mean, your average your MSOT, your Marine Special Operations team is probably almost an ODB light. You've got your 14-man, Raider team. And then guaranteed you'll have, like I said, your support package per team is a human, SIGINT, motor T, commo, data guy, all that extraneous stuff. And then typically you're running 3 to 4 teams within a company. Very quickly, that kind of, our buddies in 7th group, and then later on in 3rd group and 5th group, and they're like, dude, like, why didn't you guys just, do something different, right? So I think we have a couple different naming conventions that are slightly different from an ODA to an MSOT, but beyond that, like, we're pretty much modeled directly after you guys, Jack. So,
did you guys find like the SEALs? Not necessarily the SEALs, the guys, because they're guys. They're gonna square you away. But I mean, like the command and the Navy in general. Did they try to push you guys down because they didn't want the competition?
No. Honestly, I would say even at the command level, I would say beyond the first probably year to 18 months, I think people were very skeptical. And then I think once we were proven in that summer of '07 deployment from the West Coast, I think that was proof of concept of like, okay, we'll let these guys stick around for a little bit, but we're still unsure. But like I said, I mean, Dave, we leaned so hard on the Army infrastructure and NSW's infrastructure for a lot of those special operations skill sets
Yeah.
that we had no clue about. We're so far behind on.
Yeah.
And so I would say after that deployment, people like, oh yeah, I've heard about you guys. Like you guys deployed, and you're like, yeah, we did pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
deployed. Like we're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
And so I would say for the most part, everyone was very professional. It was definitely like big brother, little brother.
Yeah.
Us going, if we were doing something with Rangers, some of the ODA guys were very much like, all right, little brother, like this is, if you're going to come play, like stay out of our way, but this is what we're going to do. And then I think at a certain point, we kind of finally showed like, hey, we are on par. Like,
Right.
Let's do it together.
That's great. Yeah, because I mean, obviously, I knew the SEALs and the SF guy. Like the guys, the bros will be bros, right? They're always going to help another guy.
We're all just bearded bros in the end.
Yeah, but I didn't know how the commands would be, and it almost sounds in some ways like not the conventional, but the regular Marine command was more of an obstacle than like the Naval command or anybody else like that.
Oh, big time. There's something else, so we stood up in '06.